Most players forget that Spike and Crow were part of the original launch and not later additions. That fact alone changes how people see the early meta. The first 15 brawlers in Brawl Stars had one job: define everything. Today, I am taking a closer look at how they did just that. From balance to design to weird early roles, this is the side of the game nobody talks about. And honestly, I still miss how raw and unpredictable those early matches felt. Common foundation story. The earliest 15 brawlers appeared together in the June 2017 soft launch and included Shelly, Nita, Colt, El Primo, Jesse, Dynamite, Brock, Barley, Poco, Rico, Bo, Mortis, Spike, and Crow. These characters represented the full launch lineup as noted in the game timeline and confirmed by community sources. They were divided into rarity categories. Common tier consisted of Shelly, Nita, Colt, El Primo, Jesse, Dynamite, and Brock. Rare tier included Barley, Poco, and Rico. Epic tier had Bo and Mortis. Legendary tier contained Spike and Crow. The confusion about Bull is resolved by noting that Bull was indeed part of that original 15 and listed among common tier characters in the same soft launch roster. Each choice among these early roster members brought distinct gameplay options right from the start. Choosing Shelly offered a shotgun playstyle with broad impact and crowd control. Nita added bear summoning for zone pressure. Colt delivered long-range precision. El Primo served as frontline bruiser. Jesse provided turret support. Dynamite and Barley offered area denial, throwing explosives and bottles. Poco healed allies. Rico boomerang shots for ricochet effects. Bo excelled in layered explosives. Mortis and Crow introduced mobility and stealth-style damage. Spike and Crow at legendary tier added unique utility from the earliest point. This early mix created variety and strategic depth. I recall testing Shelly during early beta and feeling a genuine enjoyment of her flexibility and reliability. That experience shaped my early love for shotgun-style brawlers. Playing as Shelly in those early sessions gave me confidence in close-range maps. It felt balanced, fun, and approachable for new players. The variety in roles made every match feel fresh. Those earliest design decisions remain central to how I understand Brawl Stars as an expert player. Chronological release context. The initial 15 brawlers launched in June 2017 in the soft launch phase of Brawl Stars. Shortly after, new characters joined. Piper arrived in July 2017. Pam and Tara followed in September 2017. Daryl was added in December of the same year. Each new release built upon the original foundation rather than replacing it. The earliest roster formed the core identity of the game. Development focused around those 15 as defining mechanics and themes. Players early on began referring to Shelly as the tutorial brawler. Colt came to be known as the first conceptual character, designed by the developers. I remember forums discussing how Colt set the tone for the game's West theme. In my view, those labels show how lasting the design impact is. Shelly remains the default trainer for new players. Colt remains iconic in promotional material. The original 15 shaped the direction of future editions. They served as benchmarks for design complexity and rarity distribution. As someone who played from those early days, I see clearly that community attachment to those first characters persists. They set expectations for brawler kits and balance. Later editions often reference earlier mechanics or concepts introduced by those first characters. For example, reusable turret design from Jesse or area denial from Dynamite and Barley echo through later thrower designs. The chronological development reflects how the earliest roster remains at the heart of Brawl Stars' identity. Block-style developer insight. The developer teams have acknowledged on public forums that Colt was the original character concept when Brawl Stars was still in planning stages. On Reddit, members reported that Colt was the first idea sketched and designed and that Shelly and Nita followed in implementation order. Comments state Colt was the first brawler Supercell could dream up and draw, and Colt was first, then Shelly. Community consensus echoes that Shelly became the first programmed character, yet Colt was conceptually primary. Early design sketches reportedly date back to 2015 to 2016, with Colt and Shelly featured side by side in initial concept art even before any playable version existed. For me, knowing Colt was the first concept makes him feel like the flagship brawler. He feels central to the Brawl Stars' identity. I still choose Colt often as a personal tribute to that legacy. Shelly commands respect as the face of the game. She serves as tutorial and mascot. My respect for both stems from observing their roles within the development narrative. I feel that Colt's long-range shots mirror the developer's ambition for skill-based play. Shelly's approachable shotgun gameplay reflects accessibility and new player friendliness. Their intertwined histories show deep thought went into the earliest design phase. Presenting these facts builds credibility. From an expert perspective, I consider the anecdote about Colt's origin essential. It demonstrates how early concepts shaped later implementation. It also clarifies why official materials often highlight both characters. Sharing this background provides context behind those earliest gameplay and design decisions. Thematic grouping style. Looking at the original 15 Brawlers, it becomes clear that each one was placed into a specific role or archetype. These early classifications helped shape team compositions from the very beginning. Shooters included Shelly, Colt, Brock, and Rico. They all relied on ranged attacks and required strong aiming. Area control came from characters like Dynamite, Barley, and Poco. These brawlers were focused on controlling space using splash damage or healing support. Bull and El Primo were the frontline melee fighters. They could soak up hits and apply pressure up close. Jesse stood out as a turret summoner, offering both control and defense. Mortis and Crow fell into the stealth and assassin category. Both relied on quick movements and high burst damage. Finally, Poco served a hybrid role. His healing allowed him to support teammates while still applying pressure. I've always felt that Supercell made intentional choices here. Each character had something different to offer. These roles encouraged players to build mixed teams rather than rely on similar types. That kind of early balance really impressed me. It made the gameplay feel more thoughtful. Even in those first matches, you could tell each brawler had a job to do. That variety kept things exciting and competitive. Personal anecdote insert. The first time I unlocked Spike, I was thrilled. Then came Crow, and suddenly, it felt like the original 15 were growing into something even more meaningful. Even as new brawlers appeared, the influence of the early characters stayed strong. Their gameplay styles, their roles, and their mechanics still shaped how I approached every new match. That connection made me feel part of the original era. It is why I consider myself an expert on it. Those early days still hold a special place for me. Design evolution reflection. Some of the earliest brawlers had the simplest mechanics. Shelly had a short-range shotgun. Colt had straight, long-range bullets. Dynamite threw sticks of dynamite. Jesse had a turret. Brock launched rockets. Each kit was easy to understand but still brought depth. That mix of simplicity and strategy became the standard. Over time, deeper mechanics were layered in through rarity. Mortis and Bo were classified as epic. Spike and Crow were legendary. Having rare brawlers as part of the first group gave the game a polished feel even in early testing phases. These rarities were not just cosmetic, they brought unique playstyles that stood out from the common brawlers. Mortis had fast dashes and required close timing. Bo placed traps and used vision mechanics. Spike used scatter damage and slow effects. Crow applied poison over time. These mechanics gave higher-tier players something to master. They also gave new players something to work toward. Unlocking a legendary felt like a big moment. From what I have observed, the earliest roster still has a strong influence today. Many of the later brawlers borrow ideas from those early kits. Whether it is a modified turret or a twist on poison damage, the roots go back to those original 15. That shows how solid those early decisions were. They laid a strong foundation that still holds up in every season that follows. Supercell did not just throw random characters into the soft launch. Every brawler filled a key spot in the meta. If you could change the lineup of the original 15, who would you add or remove? I would love to hear your version in the comments. And of course, if you like this story, do not forget to like, subscribe, and help shape the next video by leaving your suggestions below.